everybody, and welcome to Let's Look at Paranautical Activity. Paranautical Activity, for once, is a game that is actually going to be very easy for me to describe, which should be a welcome change of pace for anybody that has been watching Let's Look At's recently of some more unusual titles, shall we say. This is basically a first-person shooter, almost a Twitch shooter in the same vein as like a Quake or an Unreal Tournament or something like that, or a little bit Doomish as well, especially with the enemy design, but with roguelike elements. So kind of the easiest way to describe this, if we're going to be a little bit reductive, is that this is basically like the Binding of Isaac in first-person shooter form. So it takes place on a boat, apparently. At least it has some kind of nautical theme associated with it, not simply a paranormal activity knockoff in the title, although that might have been the original design. And basically, we're going to go from room to room here. Every room is going to have a certain assortment of enemies, shall we say. These enemies will be killed by our gun, and they will drop money for us, and we'll use that money to buy items, for example, in the gift shop right here. So it's very Isaac-y. It's the easiest way to explain it. It is a little bit reductive. What do we have in here? Spinach, armor box, and armor box. Now, I've only been playing this for about an hour and a half, 2 hours so far, so I still don't know what a lot of these items are. And I really romanticize this period of playing, you know, I'm going to call them roguelikes, even though they're not necessarily that. Games with roguelike elements, if you will. Roguelike-y games, because, you know, anything could happen on every individual run, if you will. But in any case, let's just get going here, because this is a Let's Look At, not necessarily a Let's Play, but I have to spoil things and say that I am very, very pleased with this so far. I know that this came out originally, I can't remember if it was alpha or beta or what, but it was back in like February of this year, and I know Nick and Josh played it. But over the intervening 3 months, if you will, I've seen this game pick up a lot of steam. Alpaca and Green are both like Let's Playing it. I know BizSnap as well, who I continue to mention in videos, even when I don't mean to, is doing a series on this game as well. So I was like, you know what? All these guys who really love Isaac are playing this game, so I should check it out finally and see what it's all about. And you know, a mega update for this game just came out that made it twice as long. So I figured now was as good a time as any to play it. And you know, this game is not perfect. It's still in development, but it is a game that I'm enjoying a great deal. And talk about kind of like the not mechanics, but the kind of extraneous, if you will, kind of conditions regarding the game. This is a $6 game that is available on Desura, and there will be a link in the video description to pick this up if you are interested. But the link in the video description doesn't go to Desura, it actually goes to Code Avarice's main page, because I've heard they've had some problems with the administrative side on Desura recently, not pushing out updates quickly enough and perhaps not even paying them as timely as they might expect. So, you know, if you're interested in picking up the game, maybe consider picking it up standalone from their website. But anyway, let's explain what makes this different and what makes this similar to a game like The Binding of Isaac. What makes it similar? Well, every room, or every floor has a certain assortment of special rooms. I haven't really come across item rooms yet, but definitely every floor has a gift shop, and as we kill enemies, we will get money that we can spend at that gift shop. That will give us attribute upgrades, you know, like damage up, speed up, stuff like that. Or occasionally they will be items that will give us some kind of special effect, like poisonous bombs. I've seen some of the items are basically taken wholesale from Isaac. I don't know, you know, what came first, the chicken or the egg in this situation, but either way, it's not like this game is a ripoff by any stretch of the imagination. If we look down at our interface down there, it should be pretty obvious for you to understand what the heck is going on and what each of those things represents. We have a little bit of health represented by the heart. We have an armor kind of option as well. We will pick up armor. I think it tends to drop a little bit more as we get onto further and further floors, because every floor after we defeat a boss, there will be an elevator that we can take down to the floor below it. The reason I'm not explaining the mechanics all that much is because it reminds me so much of The Binding of Isaac that I kind of feel like it's kind of implicit, or I guess implied, simply by, you know, you watching this. The bomb indicator indicates how many bombs we have, obviously, and the money indicator indicates how much money we have. And you know what? We do have enough money to possibly buy something from the shop here, so why don't we do that? I also want to mention it almost has like a receiver type element to the game, where every single time we spawn, we have a different weapon. So right now I have this kind of like minigun here, but there's also like a hatchet you can throw that comes back to you with like a boomerang style. Can I buy? Oh, I can buy armor boxes, but I kind of want to save up for the spinach and see what it does, because I don't know. And that's part of the joy of these games, obviously, is figuring out what the heck these weird items do, and then gradually gaining some proficiency, shall we say. So this is where we started, but not where we're going to end. I forgot what else I was going to say there just a second ago. Oh yeah, we start with a different gun every time. So there is a crossbow that kind of, you have to like charge up to get maximum speed and distance on it, and the trajectory will straighten out. Or you can fire like faster, but it'll have kind of a smaller, more looping trajectory. Anyway, hopefully that makes even the slightest bit of sense. I think probably one complaint I do have about the game is that the money drops are so like spread out. Because, you know, usually every single enemy that you kill, or most enemies that you kill, will drop some money. So sometimes I feel like I am definitely leaving behind like hard-earned cash. Now, this is something, admittedly, I'm not 100% sure about. We have this blue, like, death room over here, and we also have this kind of, like, pentagram-looking room over here, or star-looking room over here. I don't know which one's the boss room to get down to the next floor. We might be able to peek inside. Okay, so I think this is how you get down to the next floor, and I think that blue room is just like a challenge room. So you know what? Why don't we fight in here, and we're going to be fighting this big angry skull that is going to summon some spiders to hurt us, and this is our boss. So again, in true Isaac fashion, the end of every single floor has a boss associated with it. And beating this boss will allow us to take the elevator down to the next level. So instead of just opening a hatch in the floor, instead we're going to be opening this elevator, which will take us down. And I do know that in the new version of the game on Desura, at least at the time of this recording, there was kind of a bug where the elevators didn't open. So I am playing the standalone build right now, in case you already own the game and you're like, whoa, why do you not have this bug? Again, I encourage you, if you want to buy this game, pick it up standalone from the website. You know, it's got the same payment options as Desura, but you can get your builds basically instantly as soon as they're done, as opposed to waiting for when the Desura people want to push their updates, which, you know, I have nothing but good things to say about Desura overall, but I don't deal with them on a professional level. There will be a free demo of the game on Desura, almost certainly, because there's a free demo of basically everything on Desura. So how do I like this game overall? I actually like it a lot. I like that it's... I mean, it's hard to say that it's objectively more difficult than Isaac because I've spent so much time in Isaac and so little time in this. But the fact that it has this kind of like first-person shooter mechanic associated with it seems to make it a little bit, like, killing things seems less reliable than Isaac, which I like because it adds a little bit of uncertainty into it. We're actually going to succeed on this floor, much to my surprise. Prior to recording this video, I'd only defeated one boss one time in my, like, 2 hours of the game so far. So suffice to say, I consider the game somewhat difficult. I mean, it depends. The difficulty varies depending on... did I not kill an enemy or something? Or is this elevator not actually opening here? Is there one more spider somewhere that I'm completely missing? This is strange. Let me out of here! Maybe the bug actually does exist in the standalone build as well. That would be unfortunate considering I am recording this right now. But we could probably just hit escape and then restart it. That's so disappointing, though, that the elevator doors do not open here. I'm just going to do one last scour and make sure there's no spider around. Again, keep in mind this is a work in progress, so shit like this does happen on occasion, although I will say this is the first time this has happened to me. So let's go back to the main menu here. We will hit play. You know, some presentation work probably needs to be done with respect to the title screen and the, you know, the options menu and stuff like that, but that's all kind of interstitial. It does kind of have a splash screen that looks a little bit Xbox Live Indie Games-ish, but, you know, it doesn't really matter because the gameplay at its core is so much fun. I have been having a, like, hell of a time progressing in the game. The furthest I've gotten is the 3rd floor, and, you know, in getting to the 3rd floor, it was basically pure luck. I got an upgrade that basically doubled my existing health, so that made it possible for me to succeed. Alright, so we have spawned in here, and we have the rocket launcher now. I really like how it has this kind of element where every time you start, you get different weapons. A couple of criticisms I would levy at the game, at least in its current state. I feel like there's not that much enemy variety, and part of the reason I probably feel that way is because I spend so much time on the 1st floor that I keep seeing these enemies over and over, like these big angry demons and also the tiny little, like, Delver's Drop looking dudes. I see those guys all the time. So, you know, there are other enemies that you'll come across as we get later in the game, but for now, I'm encountering a lot of these grunts kind of over and over and over, which can be a little, I don't want to say tedious, but at some point I'm like, I just want to see something new. I do love that you start it with a different weapon every time, though. The other criticism that I would lobby is, again, the money thing, because sometimes I find it difficult to see where the money is. Luckily, it glows like a motherfucker, so that's not so bad, but yes. The positive things I wanted to mention is actually, when I originally saw this game, you know, the temptation is always there. As much as I malign people for being like, oh, you know, pixel graphics, is anybody else tired of games with pixel graphics or like 8-bit kind of aesthetic? You know, every time I see voxels, I'm a little bit like, you know, I'm not necessarily saying it is Minecraft influenced, but I'm kind of sick of it because I spend so much time playing Minecraft. But I actually think this game, particularly with respect to the lighting, which I believe is just kind of built into Unity, but it looks really good with the lighting that we have going on, and it's got kind of like almost a Lego style aesthetic to the enemies, and they move fluidly, so I think it looks really good. Let's put it this way: when I first saw the game being played, I think I saw Josh play it for the first time. I didn't appreciate, I think, how it looked, whereas now, you know, after playing it and being in motion, I think I feel a lot more positively about it, shall we say, moving forward. It's almost got like a Legend of Dungeon style, dynamic lighting thing. I think that it also happens in Delver's Drop, actually, although I believe the guys at Delver's Drop built their own engine, so that might just be a coincidence. Now Legend of Dungeon and Paranautical Activity are both built in Unity. is the last remaining enemy. Another thing I like is this dynamic map at the bottom here, because in 3D games I often have a tendency to get lost because I have the brain the size of a walnut, basically. This allows me to constantly kind of keep an eye on where the heck I am and where I'm going. So let's try to finally buy an item here. What do we have? We have a gum, or just gum. We have poison bombs, and we have, we could switch to the minigun again, which I don't want. Why don't we pick up the gum and see what it does? Sticky bombs, that seems pretty useful. We could buy sticky poison bombs, that might actually be really effective. But you know, this does have, again, an Isaac-type element to it where if your success is somewhat predicated upon you getting half-decent items. And again, I'm saying that as a novice. Maybe it's possible to do a completely vanilla successful run when you get much better at the game, but I'm not at that point yet. Again, there will be a number of Let's Players that you can check out, like Green9090, Alpaca Patrol, and BizSnap if you want to see this game getting absolutely thrashed by them. Thrashed in a good way, by the way. Like a violent but also incredibly pleasurable bout of intercourse, not like Angry Video Game Nerd shitting on a product or something like that. At least as far as I know, I haven't seen all their videos, so maybe I shouldn't put words in their mouth. Let's go back and get those poison bombs. Maybe that'll be effective to help us fight some bosses. The other thing is that the complaint that I have is bombs sometimes are hard to see, like when enemies drop bombs, because I'm a little bit scared and I tend to think that they're going to explode in my face because I've spent so much time being conditioned by Isaac. So I think oftentimes I tend to avoid those, but anyway, it's minor. Also, the music can become a little bit repetitive, but hopefully, you know, they're in the works of adding more songs to the soundtrack. So let's get poison bombs here. Poison bombs, poison ... bombs ... I think that's like an in-joke to basically be like, what do you think poison bombs does, motherfucker? We don't need an item description here. Let's go fight in our boss room here and see if we can actually open up the next floor. Is this? No, this is not it. You know what, maybe why don't we go into this blue room here, because I want to figure out what this is. I think this might be like a mob trap room style, where if you actually manage to kill... Oh my god, I've never seen this enemy before. Where if you actually manage to kill this enemy, then you get an item as a result of it, which would be good. Oh my god, I'm getting my ass killed. That would be good because I oftentimes find myself fairly low on items at the end of a floor. Holy shit, I am getting destroyed here. Is there another one that I'm missing? No. Alright, so now we should just have... Oh, there's another moth. Those moths are super annoying. Let's try to throw some bombs in here. Most of my runs in Paranautical Activity end really, really quickly. Like, this is not a case of me, you know, normally... Oh, I died. Not a case of me normally spending like 5 minutes per run. Oftentimes, I get like 2-minute runs. So we're going to restart here. And now we have a good kind of weapon to demonstrate the kind of difference between the weapons that you can often get. This is like a hook almost that we can throw. I don't know what the correct word for it would actually be. I think it does a lot of damage, and it also comes back to us. But the thing is, you've got to charge it up, and also you've got to be fairly close relative to other weapons to be able to throw it. It'll always come back to you. It's not like the boomerang in Spelunky where you actually have to kind of, you know, put yourself in a position where it can get to you. I think, anyway. There it is. Even if it'll, like, travel through an object or something, it'll come back to you, which makes sense from, like, a gameplay standpoint, even if not necessarily a physics standpoint, but that doesn't really matter. I don't really like this weapon, truth be told, but I think it is a little bit higher damage than other weapons. And it's got some unique elements to it as well. It's almost like a my reflection shot in the sense that when you shoot it, it can actually do damage to enemies twice. Once on the way there and once on the way back. I would love to be able to get down to the next floor, so maybe we'll just focus on getting to the boss on this one. And then we can probably end the video. I am considering starting like a mini-series almost of Paranautical Activity, so make sure to let me know in the comments if you would like to see that. I almost never solicit opinions like that. But, you know, I want to make sure that you wouldn't be like, okay, I can't watch Isaac and Paranautical Activity. It's just too much roguelike for one man. But I think, by and large, the opinion is probably going to be positive on that. And again, expect me to suck, as I suck right now. But that is half the fun of starting a brand new roguelike-y game, if you will. I'm not calling them roguelike-likes anymore, because it makes me feel like a fucking idiot. Whoa, I didn't even see Angry Demon over here. And he managed to hit me twice again. Getting health upgrades, like in Isaac, especially as a novice player, seems really important. The one time I've been even mildly successful on my run was the time when I got an item on the first floor that allowed me to double my health. So I had 12 HP instead of merely 6, which actually makes a huge difference. Also making a huge difference is picking up armor, which I have done a couple of times. They're like the blue kind of heart type things you'll find on the ground sometimes. You know, there have been heart consumable drops. I haven't really mentioned them. I just kind of, you know, I have faith in my viewers that when they see a heart on the ground, they can kind of tell what that does. The doors have opened, which means the doors have not opened, which means I have not killed every enemy in the room yet. Where are you? Are you here? Or here? Or, I think I see it. Yeah, just poking its head out over here. God, these guys are annoying. Okay. So we're getting a decent amount of money, which we should be able to spend at the gift shop in the next room. You know, avoid singing Macklemore for a moment until we make sure that we survive here. I realize that it's thrift shop, by the way. What can I say? I'm hip with the new tunes. Don't even sweat it. Green told me that the game's hard, but it gets a lot easier once you memorize enemy patterns. I believe it. I think I also am just, typically speaking, pretty bad at first-person shooters. So oftentimes I find myself, maybe being a little bit over-aggressive would be the complaint there. Now we have the shotgun. Why don't we do one more run? Just because, while we're here, we might as well show off some more. But in terms of like my meta thoughts or my overall thoughts on Paranautical Activity, I definitely recommend this game. I'm not sure if the price is going to go up once it's out of beta or even what stage of development it's in right now. But what I will say is that I think for $6, this is definitely a game where you will get a vast amount of enjoyment out of. You know, like Isaac, seems simple when you first play it, but there is a hidden depth, kind of by virtue of the RAND function, I guess, included in the game, that it makes it, I wouldn't necessarily say endlessly replayable, not because it's not, but only because it would be way too early for me to make that distinction, but very, very replayable. And I think that's illustrated by the fact that there's a number of YouTubers doing long series of it as well, or at least long-running series of it. I don't know how long their individual episodes tend to be, but I know that Green and Bisnap and Alpaca are pretty good at this game. At least that is what they tell me, but who knows if they're to be trusted. Where is our last remaining enemy here? There he is. In terms of weapons, we actually haven't had the crossbow, which might be my favorite weapon in the game. And we haven't had the assault rifle, which is another one that I enjoy. But you can probably get a feel for, or just guess, what the assault rifle would be like. The thing I like about it is that it's basically instant hits, as opposed to something like the crossbow, which takes time for the dart to actually fly to the enemy. The crossbow actually allows you to, or sorry, the assault rifle allows those shots to hit basically instantly, which makes it oftentimes easier to take out enemies from afar because you don't have to plan your shots as crazily. Alright, I've never gotten the scissors, I've never gotten the anchor. Let's see what this does. Fall faster. Alright, that's interesting. The scissors are super expensive, poison bombs less so, but I don't want to buy poison bombs. Maybe we'll just try to save our money instead. I'm pretty good with the shotgun as well, just because it's kind of a traditional FPS weapon, so I understand how it works, if that makes sense. Whereas, you know, with the hatchet, as you saw, I was pretty much garbage. I'm not sure if the starting weapons have different, like, base damage levels, by the way, almost like starting with different characters in Isaac. I would initially be inclined to think yes. However, I think the difference might just be in, like, the way that they fire. Like, the rocket has some area of effect damage, which gives it a bonus, but it's also slow reloading. Whereas something like the shotgun, you know, it does the same amount of base damage, but maybe it changes depending on where you are. Maybe it does more damage up close and further, and less damage further away. Again, those are mechanics-based questions for someone who is more mechanically well-versed in the game. Let us come over here. I want to do at least one more boss fight. Again, my major complaint about the game so far, or not even complaint, because that makes it sound more negative than it is, but I would love to see more enemy variety, including bosses as well. Like, you know, there's not a staggering number of bosses in Isaac, but there is a lot of repeating between the bosses that... Is it? Oh, it's the same gift shop. There's a lot of repeating between the bosses that I've seen so far in Paranautical Activity. Again, part of that is because I spend 99% of my time on the first floor or the second floor. But, you know, I've seen that skull boss a lot. There's also a boss that is a whale. I've seen him fairly consistently as well. Can this guy see me? I don't think so. So I will just blow his brains out. I am down to 2 health, which means I am almost certainly going to die here. Unless I could buy some kind of, like, a health pickup, which is pretty unlikely. But let's see if we get a new boss here. I've also seen a number of moths, which are pains in the ass. They kind of work like envy, like as you kill one. Oh, perfect. As you kill one, more kind of spawn out of it. But I don't think... Oh, we're gonna die. We're gonna die in like 2 seconds. It was fun while it lasted. Anyway, this has been Paranautical Activity. Highly recommended, especially if you're a fan of games like Isaac. It's basically like a first-person version of Isaac, you know, it needs a little bit more polish. It's still very much in development. I'm looking forward to covering this when it actually, you know, sees a quote-unquote final release, or as final as releases can get in these days of constantly supporting your games after release. But for an early look, very, very impressed with Paranautical Activity, and I would encourage you, if you have the interest, to go pick up the game via the store page link in the video description below. But as always, thanks for watching. This has been my Let's Look at Paranautical Activity. Hope you found the video entertaining, and I will see you next time.